Hi math friends, we're checking out our study guide here. So remember to do the work that you can, then check out what you can, pause it, and then come back and check it out again, right? So first we've got calculate the area of the parallelogram. So we need to remember that the area of the parallelogram actually has the same equation as the area of a rectangle, base times height. I'm going to look at the right angle here. This is going to help me identify my base and my height. They're adjacent to the right angle. They're right next to the right angle. All right, so now I substitute 7 for B and 6 for H. 7 times 6 is 42. Because it's an area, I'm going to do the units squared, so 42 inches squared here. Let's check out our next part. Calculate the area of the triangle. That is a really funny typo. So let's check that out. Remember that the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to again look at my right angle. And adjacent to the right angle, I have the base and I have the height. Now this is really important because I don't want to use these slants, right? I only want to use straight up from the base. All right, so my base I got 8, my height I got 5, and then I divide by 2. Now remember our trick here that becomes a treat. I can divide one of these by 2, and then I don't have to divide by 2 at the end. So 8 divides by 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. I still have the times 5, but now I just have 4 times 5, and that's 20. And my units are centimeters, 20 centimeters squared. All right. Last one on this first page, I got calculate the area of the trapezoid. Now this was the more complicated equation. Base 1 plus base 2, divide 2, and then times the height. So I'm going to look for my right angle again. Okay, I'm going to look for this set of parallel sides. So I've got base 1, base 2, and then going straight up from the base is my height. So let's substitute those in now. 12 plus 9 over 2, and then times 5. I have to do 12 plus 9, I get 21, divide 2. So here we're adding. I have to add first because this is like a grouping symbol up here. Up here I was able to divide because I got multiplication and division. I can do them in any order. Here I got to do this grouping first, the 12 plus 9. All right, so 12 plus 9 divide 2. Here I've got times 5. Now 21 divided by 2, half of 21 is 10 and a half, or 10.5. Now I might need to work this out. 10 and a half times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Now I need to count my decimal places. 1, none here, so I move this over once. My final answer is 52 and a half, or 52.5 millimeters squared. All right. So please remember, as you're working through this, do what you can, pause it, come back, get a hint as to what you're doing next. All right. I'm going to flip that over. I have a clean sheet here for myself, but you're going to flip that over. I got number 4 here. Calculate the area of the composite figure. Now, a couple things I need to identify here. This 5 goes all the way here. This 4 goes all the way here. 9 goes all the way across. 2 is up and down, vertical, and 3 goes this way. All right, so I want to break this up into a few different shapes, or a couple shapes, and I can actually do this in one go here. If I do this, now I got to be really clever when I do this. I'm going to cut this shape like this. Now I have a rectangle and a trapezoid. So my rectangle is base times height. So area, base times height. With my rectangle here, I already got base is 5 and height is 4. Now, be careful. You might think that the base is 9, but remember, 9 goes all the way over here, and I need to stop here at this line that I just made. This 5 from the top is the same as the bottom. So I've got 5 times 4, which gives me 20. So the area of this rectangle is 20. Now I need the trapezoid. So area is base 1 plus base 2, divide 2, times the height. Now looking at this trapezoid, this is my height, and here's a base, here's a base. Okay, but here's the tricky thing. I know that one of the bases is 3. Here's base 1. Base 2 is down here. The question is, how long is base 2? Well, be clever. 9 goes all the way across. 5 is this part. So I've got a little bit left over. So 5 plus something is 9. It's got to be 4. So my base 2 is 4. Base 1 is 3. So I've got 4 plus 3, divide 2. Now my height is over here. It's only this part. So take what we have. I know that 4 goes all the way up and down. This is 4. I know that this bit here is 2 because there's a 2 right here. So 2 plus something is 4. Take a moment, and then it's got to be 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So this height is 2. So I'm going to multiply by 2 here. All right, 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 divide 2, and then times 2. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Multiply by 2. So 3.5 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I got one decimal place here. So I got 7.0, which is the same as 7. So I've got a 20 for the rectangle, a 7 for the trapezoid. So my total area, 20 plus 7, I get 27 measured in feet, so feet squared. All right, let's check out the shaded region one. So this is one where you have this whole rectangle here, this whole figure, and then this little white piece got cut out of there. So I need to think of my strategy. I'm going to think the area of the rectangle minus area of the triangle. So the rectangle is pretty straightforward, but we need to be careful. This 3 measures here. And now this 11, this is not labeled, this is labeled kind of poorly. This 11 goes all the way across because it could be implied that it stops here, but it does go all the way across here. So I got area of the rectangle is base times height, and here it's 11 times 8. Remember that this 11 on a rectangle is the same top and bottom. This 8 is the same on both sides. All right, so I got 11 times 8, 88 is the whole thing, but I need to cut out this triangle. Now look at the triangle, right angle. I got base 3, and my height is here. So I'm going to put an H there. Now, what does this look like? Take a moment. That's right, it's the same as this 8. So my area for the triangle, I got base times height, divide 2. So this time I got base is 3, height is 8, divide 2. Remember our trick that becomes a treat. Divide those. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so I've got 3 times 4. I've got 12. Now be careful here. I need this area minus this one. So I got 88 minus 12. 8 minus 2 is 6. 8 minus 1 is 7. So my final answer, I got 76 yards squared. All right, we got another shaded region one here. Now, a couple ways to do this. We're going to use the same method here. I'm going to look at the entire figure. So the entire figure is a rectangle. So I'm going to go area of the rectangle. And if I look at this shape inside, it kind of looks like a parallelogram. And you could definitely say that. But I'm going to go with 2 triangles. So area of the rectangle minus 2 triangles. All right, so let's look at this rectangle. I got this 12. Now this is labeled properly. It's showing that all the way across. So I got area is base times height for the rectangle, 12 times 7. Yeah, this shape inside, this could be a parallelogram or it could be a trapezoid. We're not entirely sure based on these angles here, right? So that's why we're going to do two triangles. So 12 times 7, I get 84. Now I'm going to look at these white spaces to take off, and then I'll end up with this, okay? So this white space here, I got a height of 7, and how about that one? Well, I know this is 12 all the way across. This 8 ends here. So here to here is also 8. So that's actually the base of this. And look, here's another right angle. So this tells me base height. So my area of the first triangle here is base height divided by 2. So I've got 8 times 7 divide 2. Again, divide out. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 times 7, I get 28 for this one. Let's get the other white space here. So a little bit trickier, but look at this. All the way across is 12. This is 8. So what does the rest got to be? Think for a moment. 8 plus something is 12. That's right, it's got to be 4. This 4 down here has got to be the same up here. The 7 on the side has to be the 7 on this side for this shape. Alright, so now my area of the second triangle, again, base height divide 2. Okay, so I've got right here, here's my right angle. That implies that this is also a right angle here because this is a rectangle. So my base is 4. My height is 7. Divide 2. Divide those out. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Times 7, I get 14. So now I got to do 84 minus both of those. I'm going to do them one step at a time. 84 minus 14. 4 minus 4 is 0. 8 minus 1 is 7. Now I've got 70 minus 28. Borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. So I've got 42 millimeters squared. All right, let's take a look at the last few on the study guide. And it's number 7. I could make the argument that this is actually one of the more straightforward, easier ones on here. Volume of the rectangular prism. So recall that for a rectangular prism, we do length times width times height. So let's identify those. Length, width, height. Now you're going to find that it doesn't matter which ones you pick as long as you are multiplying them properly, right? So I got volume equals length is 3 times my height is 2 times width is 2 and height is 10. One at a time. 3 times 2 is 6 times 10. So I get 60, and this is measured in inches, and this is cubed. Remember, volume makes little cubes inside the shapes. All right, let's look at number 8. Determine the volume of the rectangular prism. So this time I got fractions, right? So I'm good with these ones that are fractions. This one I want to change to an improper fraction instead of a mixed number. Remember how to do this. Multiply and then add. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So this is 3 over 2 here. I'm going to do the same thing, length times width times height. So my length is 3/4, width 3/8, height 3/2. Right? So now I'm going to multiply them out. 3 times 3 times 3 over 4 times 8 times 2. I want to write it like this so that I can do any simplifying right here. Right? 3, I don't see any other 3's here, right? Okay, and I can't simplify any of these. Like 3 and 9 I would be able to simplify, or 3 and 6, but I don't have those values here. So we don't have those factors, we just got to multiply. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. So our final answer is 27/64 inches cubed. All right, so let's take a look at these last two here. So these are definitely a little trickier. Let's check out this one with Mara. So Mara has fractional unit cubes that have a length of 1/3 centimeter. She uses the unit cubes to build a rectangular prism. The base of the prism has a total of 12 cubes, and the prism is 5 cubes in height. What is the volume of the rectangular prism Mara builds? All right, this one's a little tricky. So each of these cubes is 1/3 long on each side. The base of her prism, so if you picture like a Kleenex box, a shoe box, something rectangular, the bottom of it is a rectangle. So this rectangle has 12 cubes on it. So I'm thinking something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 3 by 4. Now the tricky thing here is we know these, and we also know the height is 5 cubes tall. But now we need to convert these to here. So if I think about one whole, and I think about thirds, so I have 1/3, 2/3, and then one whole would be 3/3. All right, but I have 4 cubes, and each cube is 1/3. So here's 1 cube, right? 2 cubes would be 2/3. 3 cubes would be 3/3. So thinking about 4 of them, I go 1, 2, 3, and then one more. So my length is 4/3. My width is 3 cubes, so it's 3/3. So length times width times height, 5. So it's going to be 5/3. And now when I multiply here, I got 4 times 3 times 5 straight across the numerator, and then 3 times 3 times 3. So this is where I can look again. Do I have anything that I can simplify? Yes, I do. I've got a 3 and a 3. They simplify to 1/1. I don't have any of the same factors, numerator and denominator. Do I have anything that can simplify though? 4 and 3, no. 5 and 3, no. And I also have another 3. So now I need to multiply. 4 times 1 is 4, times 5 is 20. 1 times 3 is 3, times 3 is 9. So my final volume is 29 centimeters cubed. Now if you want to convert it to a mixed number, you can, but you can leave it as improper. All right, let's check out number 10. This is the final one here. All right, we're almost there. Remember, please pause at some point to, just give yourself a chance with doing the work on this. All right, you absolutely got to do that. So it says determine the number of 1/4-inch cubes that can pack a rectangular prism with a length of 2 inches, a width of 1 1/2, and a height of 3/4. So this is the opposite of number 9. They give us these measurements. All right, so let's try to be creative with that. So my length is 2, my width is 1 1/2, and my height is 3/4. Now, these cubes are 1/4 inch in each length. Okay, so think about one whole again. 0 to 1. If I have these in quarters, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and then one whole is 4/4. So if I have 2, I go 1, and then I need another 1. So how many fourths are there? Well, there's 4/4 in one whole. So another whole, there's another 4. So my length is the same as 8/4. Okay. The thing here is we only want the number of cubes. The number of cubes is 8. I'm going to keep this here just for a moment though. 1 1/2. So I'm going to go 1, and then a half would be halfway. So I have 4, 5, 6. So this width is 6 cubes. So I have 6/4 there. My 3/4, that just kind of tells me, right? 3/4. So I have 3 of them. So here's the thing about this one, though. We're not going to just multiply all this. We got to think the numerator here. This is where my cubes are. Okay. The fourths are telling me what the cubes is measured in. So I'm actually going to not use those when I'm looking for how many cubes are there. This is a little tricky, but I got 8 cubes times 6 cubes times 3 cubes. Now I got to work this out. 8 times 6, 48. And then I got to do times 3. Maybe I want to work this out on the side. 3 times 8, 24. 3 times 4 is 12. 13, 14. So my final volume is 144 cubes. Okay, so remember, this is not inches cubed. This is how many of the cubes do we have. So I have 144 cubes in here. All right, so I hope that helps. Make sure that we go through, go back, pause, rewind, fast forward. Do what you need to do to give yourself a chance at this. These are tough, right? But you've been working hard. All right? Good luck, math friends. You got this.